Live from New Delhi, you're watching DDIndia News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns to New Delhi after a successful visit to 5 nations, elevating India's economic, technological and defence partnerships during a period of acute global crisis. India slams Pakistan over terrorism, calls out Pakistan's long-tainted record of genocidal acts at the UN Security Council. US President Donald Trump says willing to wait for a few days to get right answer on Iran peace deal. Tehran accuses US of overt and covert moves for new attack. US indicts ex-Cuban President Raúl Castro on murder conspiracy charges in 1996 killing of 4 Americans. Cuba firmly denies allegations, calling the claims spurious. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in New Delhi after concluding his 5-nation visit covering the United Arab Emirates, the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway and Italy, with major agreements signed in energy security, trade, semiconductors, green energy, AI, defence and technology. In the first and short visit to UAE, both the countries exchanged agreements on framework for the Strategic Defence Partnership, MOU on strategic petroleum reserves, agreement on supplies of liquefied petroleum gas, MOU on setting up ship repair cluster at Vadinar and investments worth $5 billion. On the second leg of his visit to the Netherlands, he met his Dutch counterpart, Gob Yetten, and inked 17 agreements to boost cooperation in sectors such as defence and critical minerals. The Netherlands has officially returned rare 11th century Chola copper plates to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with his Sweden counterpart, agreed upon a series of agreements and announcements aimed at deepening cooperation in technology, trade, innovation and cultural exchange, while elevating bilateral ties to the level of a strategic partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2-day visit to Norway marked the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the Nordic country in 43 years. During the visit, India and Norway signed a series of agreements covering climate action, maritime cooperation, digital development, healthcare, science and technology, and renewable energy. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Italy has opened a new chapter in India's global engagement. His meetings in Rome highlighted not only the strengthening of diplomatic and economic ties, but also the warmth of cultural exchange and friendship. From high-level talks to symbolic gestures at historic landmarks, the visit underscored a shared vision for deeper cooperation and a stronger partnership between the two nations. DDIndia's Raúl Castro gets us more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on Wednesday elevated India-Italy ties to a special strategic partnership, signaling a new phase in bilateral cooperation. The two leaders reviewed the Joint Action Plan 2025-2029 progress, aimed at expanding cooperation in trade, defense, clean energy, innovation and emerging technologies. Both sides expressed commitment to rapidly scale bilateral trade beyond the €20 billion target by 2029. Prime Minister Modi highlighted that more than 800 Italian companies are actively contributing to India's growth story.
आज की बैठक में हमने हमारी भावी साझेदारी को और सशक्त बनाने के लिए विस्तृत रूप से चर्चा की। भारत इटली जॉइंट स्ट्रेटेजिक एक्शन प्लान 2025 to 2029 हमारी साझेदारी को एक प्रैक्टिकल और फ्यूचरिस्टिक ढांचा प्रदान करता है। हम इस पर समयबद्ध तरीके से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। हमारे साझा प्रयासों में द्विपक्षीय व्यापार के 20 बिलियन यूरो के लक्ष्य की ओर तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। भारत में मौजूद 800 से अधिक इटालियन कंपनीज भारत की ग्रोथ स्टोरी में सक्रिय भागीदार बन रही है।
Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni described the current phase as the apex of India-Italy ties, saying the partnership has reached its highest ever.
Questo vuoto, ma insieme decidiamo di rilanciare.
We have decided to revitalize our relations. This visit is the apex of a path that we have built together with determination to strengthen the ties between ourselves. We are further strengthening our relation all the way up to the special strategic partnership, the highest ever reached in the relations between our two nations. So I think it's safe to say that now Italy and India are closer than they have ever been. Our relations are now capable of expressing their fullest potential. It is also due to the over 7 meetings that I have had with Prime Minister Modi over the past 3.5 years, during which we have gotten to deeply know one another and our respective points of view. We have also created an honest friendship based on respect and mutual trust.
Prime Minister Modi began the day by meeting Italian President Sergio Mattarella at the historic Quirinal Palace in Rome, where he was accorded a ceremonial guard of honor. The leaders held cordial discussions focused on elevating India-Italy relations to a special strategic partnership. They emphasized deeper collaboration in trade, defense, clean energy, maritime security, and the ambitious India-Middle East-Europe economic corridor. Later, Prime Minister Modi received a ceremonial welcome from Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni at the historic Villa Doria, Pamphili. The two leaders then held delegation-level talks with senior officials from both sides to deepen strategic and economic engagement. India and Italy exchanged several memoranda of understanding during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni at Villa Doria Pamphili. The pacts cover critical minerals, defense, industrial cooperation, maritime transport, ports, agriculture, higher education, research and more. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi arrived in Italy on Tuesday night for the final leg of his 5-nation tour of West Asia and Europe. Welcoming him to Rome, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni shared a picture with Prime Minister Modi on social media, writing, "Welcome to Rome, my friend." The two leaders continued their talks over dinner. They exchanged perspectives on a wide range of issues ahead of their formal bilateral talks on Wednesday. The two prime ministers visited the iconic Colosseum in Rome. Nearly 2,000 years after it was built, the Colosseum remains the most recognizable symbol of Rome and one of the world's greatest architectural achievements. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi also received a warm welcome from the Indian diaspora in Rome. Members of the community gathered in large numbers, waving the Indian tricolour and showcasing India's rich cultural heritage through classical dance and traditional music performances. The vibrant reception reflected the strong people-to-people ties between India and Italy. Adding a cultural touch to the visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni participated in a tree-planting ceremony at the historic Villa Doria Pamphili on Wednesday. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Our correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh joins us from the newsroom to get us more. Shubhendu, we've just given a broad outline of the Prime Minister returning to New Delhi and telling our viewers about the 5-nation visit. Very quickly, I would want you to evaluate for us the important takeaways of this 5-nation visit of the Prime Minister.
Preeti, on significant level, this visit of Prime Minister to the 5-nation was significant. The context first, testing times for global geopolitics, significant tensions emanating from West Asia, pressures on energy supply chain. At a time like that, Prime Minister makes visit to countries which reinforce India's energy supply lines and energy infrastructure, whether it is traditional fossil fuels or green energy technology. In Europe, the green energy technology gets a major boost alongside India's advancement in technology concerning semiconductors. In the UAE, traditional supply lines of crude oil of LPG are reinforced. A bigger supply and storage facility, about 30 million barrels of crude oil through the Abu Dhabi company, is also going to be established with cooperation from the UAE. So in that sense, we see that the energy infrastructure right at the top. We also have to see that Prime Minister attended the Nordic Summit concerning 5 key Nordic countries. There, the Arctic region, which is already becoming an important theater of geopolitics with American ambitions in Greenland and Russian influences there as well. In that sense, India partnering directly with the Nordic countries has significant implications for India's future energy and strategic concerns and priorities. And thirdly, the diaspora connect becomes very significant. It is not an unusual sight for diaspora to be very excited and welcome Prime Minister wherever he goes. But in particular, the UAE, a region which is in the middle of one of the biggest conflicts that the decade has seen between the US and Iran, at a time like that, to stand with the diaspora sends out an important message of solidarity that the leader of the country stands with them, and that also then percolates to the safety and resources and the support that the country then forwards and extends to the diaspora. Remember, UAE is home to some 4.5 million, 45 lakh Indian nationals who've made UAE their home. So in that sense, diverse areas where cooperation taken forward in this visit of Prime Minister to 5 nations.
All right, Shobhendu, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. And also talking of the visit, 5 nations in less than a week, from securing oil reserves in the Gulf to unlocking microchip tech and maritime corridors in Europe. Let's take a look at the outcomes of Prime Minister Modi's 5-nation visit. The first stop in the UAE delivered massive dividends for India's domestic energy blueprint. India secured long-term LPG supplies and expanded crude storage dynamics and initiated a landmark $5 billion investment package. MOU on strategic collaboration between Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserves Limited and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. Agreement between Indian Oil Limited Company and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company on supplies of liquefied petroleum gas. Framework for the Strategic Defence Partnership. MOU between Cochin Shipyard Limited, Dry Docks World and Centre of Excellence in Maritime and Shipbuilding on skill development in ship repair. Term sheet for setting up 8 supercomputing clusters in partnership with CDAC India and G42 UAE. The diplomatic momentum shifted swiftly. Semiconductor tech sovereignty in Europe. An $11 billion mega deal was formalized between ASML and Tata Electronics. This guarantees the supply of advanced lithography tools crucial for the upcoming Doordarshan semiconductor fabrication plant in Gujarat. Prime Minister's visit to the Netherlands. $11 billion ASML lithography equipment deal for Gujarat's fabrication facility. Water partnership to implement advanced Dutch flood defense technologies across India. Green hydrogen corridors linking Indian production hubs with Europe's gateway at Rotterdam port. New centers of excellence for crop yield optimization and precision farming. Agreements to co-develop urban transit solutions and electric vehicle charging grids. Fast-track mechanism to accelerate Dutch corporate funding into high-tech manufacturing. Educational partnership between Nalanda University and the University of Groningen. Cooperation between Leiden University Libraries and the Archaeological Survey of India. In Sweden and Norway, India elevated its ties to a green technology and innovation strategic partnership. Meeting 5 Nordic heads of state at a 3rd India-Nordic Summit in Oslo, Prime Minister Modi anchored critical deals spanning Arctic research, maritime security and artificial intelligence. Prime Minister's visit to Sweden. 4 pillars framework focused on guided stability, economic growth, emerging technology and green resilience. Innovation Partnership 2.0 founded a joint center for AI, 6G and critical minerals. AI Corridor launched a futuristic technology corridor to accelerate digital transformation. Bilateral economic doubling targeted doubling trade in 5 years to boost Make in India. SME and Startup Platform created an innovation platform to generate jobs for youth. Tagore Sweden Lecture Series instituted academic exchanges to deepen people-to-people ties. Prime Minister's visit to Norway. Bilateral ties to expand global cooperation in clean energy and green shipping. Norway officially joined the initiative boosting maritime security and blue economy research. Agreement focusing on satellite data sharing and peaceful ocean monitoring. Initiative to jointly export digital public infrastructure to developing nations. Specialized Norwegian consultancy for advanced tunnel engineering and infrastructure development. Fast-tracked operational blueprints to drive investment and create high-tech manufacturing jobs. The final leg in Rome marked a major geopolitical milestone. Prime Minister Modi and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni officially upgraded bilateral ties to a special strategic partnership. They signed a joint strategic action plan targeting a bilateral trade volume of $23.2 billion by 2029, covering critical minerals, maritime transport and defense infrastructure. PM's visit to Italy elevated bilateral relations to a special strategic partnership to deepen political and security coordination. Expansion of two-way trade to $23.2 billion by 2029 through enhanced industrial partnerships. Roadmap for joint co-design, co-development and co-production of advanced military platforms. MOU to secure supply chains, exploration and sustainable recovery frameworks for minerals. Commitment to accelerate the logistics blueprint for transformative economic trade corridor. Joint declaration of intent to streamline the recruitment of skilled Indian nurses to Italy. With major agreements signed in energy security, trade, semiconductors, green energy, AI, defense and technology, Prime Minister Modi's diplomatic tour ensured India is firmly positioned as a trusted, indispensable global power. Anamika Pandey's report for DD India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been awarded the prestigious Agricola Medal 2026 by the Food and Agriculture Organization, the organization's highest honor, at the ceremony held at FAO headquarters in Rome. FAO Director General Q.U. Dongyu presented the award in recognition of Prime Minister Modi's contribution to agricultural development, food security, poverty reduction and farmer welfare. The FAO praised India's large-scale food and agriculture initiatives under Prime Minister's leadership, including financial inclusion programs, food support for 800 million people, direct income support to farmers, promotion of natural farming, and the global push for millets during the International Year of Millets. The organization also commended India's efforts to promote digital public infrastructure during its G20 presidency. Prime Minister Modi dedicated the Agricola Medal to India's farmers, saying it is not his personal honor, but a recognition of the nation's crores of andatas.
यह केवल मेरा सम्मान नहीं है, यह भारत के करोड़ों किसानों, पशुपालकों, मत्स्य पालकों, कृषि वैज्ञानिकों और हमारे श्रमिकों का सम्मान है। यह भारत की उस अटूट प्रतिबद्धता का भी सम्मान है जिसके केंद्र में मानव कल्याण, खाद्य सुरक्षा और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट है। मैं इस मेडल को अत्यंत विनम्रता के साथ स्वीकार करते हुए भारत के अन्नदाताओं को यह मेडल समर्पित करता हूं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi further said that the future of farming lies not in producing more, but in producing better. Emphasizing biodiversity, reduced chemical use and sustainability, he noted that India's experience shows scale and sustainability can go together.
Future of farming केवल प्रोड्यूस मोर में नहीं बल्कि प्रोड्यूस बेटर में है। इसी सोच के साथ बायोडायवर्सिटी बढ़ाने और केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर पर डिपेंडेंस कम करने पर बल दिया जा रहा है। भारत का अनुभव दुनिया को यह दिखा रहा है कि स्केल और सस्टेनेबिलिटी साथ साथ चल सकते हैं। टेक्नोलॉजी और इंक्लूजन एक दूसरे को स्ट्रेंथन कर सकते हैं और साइंस ड्रिवन एग्रीकल्चर ग्लोबल फूड सिक्योरिटी का मजबूत आधार बन सकता है।
Earlier, upon reaching the Food and Agriculture Organization headquarters in Rome on Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the DG of the organization, Dr. Q. Dongyu. He was greeted with a warm handshake there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has received 32 highest global honors so far, with the recent being conferred upon him by Norway and Sweden, reflecting the enduring friendship and a tribute to the enduring warmth, trust and affection. We get you a roundup of the prestigious accolades in our next report. Take a look.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is widely recognized as one of the most internationally decorated world leaders. Marking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 32nd global honor, Norway awarded the Grand Cross of the Royal Norwegian Order of Merit to PM Modi by His Majesty King Harald on 18th May 2026. Norway's highest honor recognizes PM's outstanding contribution to strengthening bilateral ties between India and Norway. On May 17, 2026, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred with the Royal Order of the Polar Star of Sweden in Gothenburg. The Royal Order of the Polar Star, Commander Grand Cross, is the utmost recognition and honor that can be conferred upon a head of government. This is the 31st global honor for Prime Minister Modi. In February, Prime Minister Modi was conferred with the Speaker of the Knesset Medal, one of Israel's highest parliamentary honors, after his address in the Israeli parliament, becoming the first Indian PM to ever address the Knesset. On his three-nation visit to Jordan, Ethiopia and Oman in December last year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was bestowed with Ethiopia's highest honor, the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia, marking PM Modi's 28th foreign state honor. Also, Sultan of Oman, Haitham bin Tariq, conferred upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi the Order of Oman award for his exceptional contribution to India-Oman ties and his visionary leadership. Prime Minister Modi was also conferred with Namibia's highest civilian award, the Order of the Most Ancient Welwitschia Mirabilis. The award was presented by Namibian President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah. Earlier, on July 9th, PM Modi was awarded with Brazil's highest civilian award, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross. Brazilian President Lula da Silva presented the award in recognition of PM Modi's notable contributions to strengthening bilateral relations and enhancing India-Brazil cooperation across key global platforms. On July 4th, PM Modi was awarded with the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the highest honor of the Caribbean nation, in a special ceremony at the President's house in Port of Spain. PM Modi is the first foreign leader to be conferred the award. On July 3rd, PM Modi was awarded with Ghana's national honor, the Officer of the Order of the Star of Ghana, in recognition of his distinguished statesmanship and global leadership. In June last year, he received Cyprus's highest honor, the Grand Cross of the Order of Macarius III. In March 2025, Barbados conferred on him the honorary honor of the Freedom of Barbados. The award was presented by the President of Barbados and accepted on the Prime Minister's behalf by Minister of State for External Affairs, Pabitra Margarita. In the same month, during Mauritius's National Day celebrations, PM Modi was awarded the Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and the Key of the Indian Ocean, the highest civilian award of Mauritius. He's the first Indian leader to receive this recognition. In April, Sri Lanka honored him with the Sri Lanka Mitra Vibhushana Award, the country's highest honor for foreign leaders. It was also the first time this award was presented to an Indian leader. In July 2024, he was officially presented with Russia's highest civilian honor, the Order of St. Andrew the Apostle. Though it was awarded to him in 2019, he received it in person in 2024. The award recognized his key role in building a strong strategic partnership between India and Russia and promoting friendship between the two nations. In November 2024, Nigeria conferred upon him the Grand Commander of the Order of Niger, its highest honor. He became only the second foreign leader to receive this award, showing the high regard for his global leadership. That same month, the President of Guyana, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, awarded PM Modi the country's highest national honor, the Order of Excellence, for his visionary leadership and his support for the rights of developing nations on the global stage. Also in November, PM Modi was honored with Dominica's highest national award, the Dominica Award of Honor. The award recognized his leadership, support to Dominica during the COVID-19 pandemic, and efforts to strengthen ties between India and Dominica. In December 2024, the Amir of Kuwait awarded PM Modi with the Order of Mubarak al-Kabir, Kuwait's highest national honor. At the heart of these global recognitions lies Prime Minister Modi's vision, one that focuses on the well-being of all humanity and on peace and dialogue. Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's sweet gift for his Italian counterpart, Giorgia Meloni, during his Rome visit has once again brought to the fore his rapport with world leaders. Be it candid exchanges, special gestures, or years of trusted friendship, these moments often go beyond formal protocol and reflect India's growing global stature. DD India's Deputy Party gets us more.
From global summits to candid personal moments, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's chemistry with world leaders has become a defining feature of India's modern diplomacy. Beyond formal meetings and policy discussions, these interactions reflect warmth, trust, and friendship built over years on the global stage. A recent moment in Rome once again got the internet's attention as PM Modi shared a light-hearted exchange with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The video became an internet sensation in no time. The clip of Prime Minister Modi gifting Melody toffees to Prime Minister Meloni crossed 100 million views in just a few hours. PM Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron have shared a strong personal bond. From tea conservations in Jaipur to sharing a ride in Mumbai, there is a partnership that goes beyond protocol. PM Modi's rapport with Russian President Vladimir Putin is rooted in decades of strategic trust and personal warmth. In a rare diplomatic gesture, PM Modi personally received President Putin at the airport during his India visit in December 2025, underlining excellent personal relations between the two leaders. The same warmth and camaraderie is visible in India-UAE ties, where the UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan often refers to PM Modi as his brother. Their friendship has elevated India-UAE relations to a key strategic partnership. In fact, UAE leaders often say that Emirate is second home for PM Modi.
इस आत्मीय स्वागत के लिए मैं आपका हृदय से बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ और जैसा आपने कहा मैं अपने दूसरे घर आया ये शब्द ये भाव मेरे जीवन की बहुत बड़ी पूंजी है.
The deep personal friendship between Indian Prime Minister and Israeli Prime Minister has become a defining pillar of Indian-Israel relations. During PM Modi's visit to Israel in February 2026, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with his wife, warmly welcomed PM Modi, calling him a good friend, a gesture reflecting the personal warmth between the two leaders. From Jordan's Crown Prince personally driving PM Modi in Amman to special gestures by leaders in Ethiopia and the Nordic nations. These moments reflect India's growing global stature and PM Modi's ability to build personal connections across culture and continents. From diplomacy to friendship, PM Modi's bonhomie with world leaders continues to add a human touch to international relations. Kriti Tripaঠি's report for DD India.
So that sums up Prime Minister's five-nation visit. You're watching DDIndia News Hour. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DDIndia News Hour. Let's get to other updates now. US President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that the United States was willing to wait a few days for the right answer from Iran. President Trump also said on Wednesday that the United States may have to attack Iran even harder, but will wait and see if a deal is reached, reprising the either-or rhetoric he has used since announcing a ceasefire 6 weeks ago. He said Iran's military might is largely gone, and the only question is whether the US goes back to finish the job or will Iran sign a deal.
Very right on the borderline, believe me. If we don't get the right answers, it goes very quickly. We're all ready to go. We have to get the right answers. It would have to be a complete 100% good answers. And if we do, we save a lot of time, energy, and lives, most importantly.
Meanwhile, Iranian top negotiator and parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf said on Wednesday that the moves by the enemy showed that they were seeking a new round of war. In an audio message released on his Telegram account, Khalibaf also said that Iran's military had used the ceasefire to rebuild its strength. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi declared that Tehran is equally prepared to negotiate or fight, asserting that the country's diplomatic apparatus is fully aligned with its national defense objectives. Speaking at a memorial ceremony in Tehran, Araghchi stated, and I quote, wherever we need to fight, we will fight. Wherever we need to negotiate, we will negotiate. And I unquote him. US President Donald Trump told reporters on Wednesday that he could run for prime minister in Israel, referencing to a poll he said he had received that morning. Trump said that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is a good man and that he was not treated right in Israel.
I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had a poll this morning, I'm 99%, so that's good. But no, he's a wartime prime minister, and I just don't think they treat him well.
Former Cuban President Raúl Castro has been indicted in the United States on murder charges. U.S. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche announced on Wednesday in a major escalation in Washington's pressure campaign against the island's government. The indictment against Castro, returned in federal court in Miami on April 23rd, charges him with 1 count of conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, 4 counts of murder and 2 counts of destruction of aircraft, Blanche said. 5 other people are also named as defendants in the case. The charges stemmed from a 1996 incident in which Cuban jets shot down planes operated by a group of Cuban exiles, Blanche said at an event in downtown Miami on Wednesday to honor victims of the incident.
Today, we are announcing an indictment charging Raúl Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals. My message today is clear. The United States and President Trump does not and will not forget its citizens.
U.S. President Donald Trump hailed the U.S. indictment of Cuba's former leader Raúl Castro on Wednesday, but said that he did not see the need for escalation.
I think it's a very big moment for people that, not only Cuban Americans, but people that came from Cuba, that want to go back to Cuba, people that want to see their family in Cuba. I think this is a very big day, very important day. We'll see what happens, but we're freeing up Cuba. With Cuba?
Yeah.
No, there won't be escalation.
Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel on Wednesday rejected the U.S. indictment of former President Raúl Castro as a politically motivated move, lacking any legal foundation, hours after Washington announced murder charges against the 94-year-old revolutionary leader. In a post on X, Diaz-Canel said that the charges were designed to justify what he called a potential military attack on Cuba, dismissing the indictment as a fabrication. In Venezuela, relatives of political prisoners marched in silence through the streets of Caracas on Wednesday, demanding accountability for deaths in state custody. Protesters, many with black tape over their mouths, marched towards the Ministry of Penitentiary Affairs. The march was partly motivated by the case of Victor Hugo Carrera, who died while in government custody, and his 82-year-old mother, Carmen Navas, who who spent 16 months seeking answers about her son's disappearance in government custody. Earlier, the head of Venezuela's National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, said that the 300 prisoners will be released from jail between Monday and Friday. In Argentina, tens of thousands of health workers protested for increased public health funding, saying it has been cut since President Javier Milei took office in late 2023. The demonstration is the latest in a series of protests against Milei's austerity drive, which centers on eliminating the fiscal deficit. Last week, tens of thousands marched to pressurize the president to implement a congressional law expanding the university budget. Public hospitals are becoming overwhelmed as more patients turn to them due to the rising cost of private care and insufficient government funding. While staffing cuts and resource shortages are worsening conditions for both healthcare workers and patients. A large wildfire has burned nearly a third of Santa Rosa Island in California's Chenal Islands National Park, an area home to dozens of rare plants and animals. On Friday, U.S. Coast Guard crew rescued a 67-year-old mariner stranded on Santa Rosa Island after his sailboat crashed into rocks amid nearby wildfires. A video released by Coast Guard Air Station Ventura showed a helicopter deploying a rescue basket to hoist the uninjured boater to safety, as well as wildfire burning on the island. The mariner was later transferred to medical personnel at Camarillo Airport. The cause of the fire on the island remains under investigation. You're watching DDIndia News Hour. Waiting for a short break. Stay with us.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DDIndia News Hour. India has reaffirmed its strong commitment to the UN Charter and stressed that protecting civilians at all times, including conflict situations, is a central element of maintenance of international peace and security. Delivering India's statement at the UN Security Council open debate on protection of civilians in armed conflict, Permanent Representative of India to the UN, P. Harish, said that safeguards must be in place to prevent misuse and unintended harm to the civilians. He reiterated that medical personnel and humanitarian workers must be protected at all times.
Civilian casualties, displacement, destruction of critical infrastructure, and attacks on hospitals, schools, medical personnel, and humanitarian workers remain deeply concerning. India calls for zero tolerance to the loss of civilian lives. Parties to armed conflict must ensure safe and unhindered humanitarian access while respecting international humanitarian law. Even a decade after adoption of UNSC Resolution 2286, repeated attacks on civilian facilities and humanitarian workers reflect a serious erosion of respect for international humanitarian law. India reiterates that medical personnel and humanitarian workers must be protected at all times. India reiterates that the protection of civilians must remain at the center of the Security Council's efforts to maintain international peace and security. The international community must collectively work to restore and ensure respect for international humanitarian law, strengthen accountability, ensure humanitarian access, protect medical care, responsibly govern emerging technologies, and thereby alleviate the suffering of civilians affected by armed conflict.
P. Harish also said that India strongly condemns terrorism and violent extremism in all its forms and manifestations, including cross-border terrorism. In any related situation, he added that the UN Secretary General must call on member states to uphold their international obligations in relation to protection of the civilians.
India remains deeply concerned about the persistent threat posed by cross-border terrorism, which continues to undermine regional peace, stability, and the fundamental principles of international security. India has been a victim of such form of terrorism for decades. States that sponsor, shelter, or support terrorism must be held accountable. India has consistently emphasized that terrorism in all its forms and manifestations remains one of the gravest threats to civilians worldwide. No cause or grievance can justify deliberate attacks against civilians. Mr. President, it is ironic that Pakistan, with its long tainted record of genocidal acts, has chosen to refer to issues that are strictly internal to India.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, who was on a visit to South Korea, attended a commemorative ceremony at Imjinga Peace Park honouring Indian soldiers who served during the Korean War. The Defence Minister also was received by Kwan Oh-hol at the memorial site and visited a photo exhibition showcasing the contribution of Indian troops during the Korean War. During the program, an MOU was signed. Unveiling of a memorial signage was held in the presence of senior officials from both the countries. The national anthems of India and the Republic of Korea were also performed by a military band. The President of Cyprus, Nikos Christodoulidis, has arrived in India on Wednesday, beginning a 4-day visit to the country on the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The visit of President Christodoulidis is taking place within a year of the historic visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Cyprus on 15th and 16th of June last year, which was the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Cyprus in over 2 decades. This visit assumes added significance in view of Cyprus's ongoing presidency of the Council of the European Union. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi and President Christodoulidis will hold discussions on further strengthening bilateral cooperation in various areas of mutual interest, including trade, investment, technology, education, culture, mobility, defense and security, AI, fintech, innovation and research. They will also exchange views on issues of regional and global importance. President Christodoulidis will meet President Draupadi Murmu, who will also hold an official banquet in honor of the visiting dignitary. India and Cyprus share close and time-tested partnership. The visit will build upon the ongoing momentum in bilateral relations, reflecting the shared commitment of both sides to further deepen cooperation, including in the wider India-EU context. The two countries will mark 65 years of diplomatic relations on 10th of February 2027. The National Investigation Agency has arrested a Pak-based spy involved in clandestinely passing confidential security-related information to Pakistan intelligence officers as part of an anti-India terror conspiracy. The Kolkata resident, Zafar Riaz, had a lookout circular issued against him, and proceedings were also underway to declare him a proclaimed offender when he was taken into custody. Arrested under various sections, the accused was married to a Pakistani national, with his children also Pak citizens. Convicted once earlier in an espionage case under IPC and Official Secrets Act, Zafar had been travelling frequently between India and Pakistan since 2005. NIA is continuing with its investigation to trace others involved in the espionage racket and to unveil the larger conspiracy behind the plot. North India remains in the grip of a punishing heat wave, with Uttar Pradesh's Bandha recording the country's highest temperature at a blistering 48.2 degrees Celsius, as the Met Department warned that extreme conditions are likely to continue across large parts of the country over the coming days. The IMD said severe heatwave conditions are expected to persist across northwest and central India for the rest of the week, while eastern India is likely to face intense heat stress for at least 5 more days. Health authorities urged people to avoid prolonged exposure to sunlight and remain hydrated. Residents have been advised to drink water regularly. People stepping outdoors are advised to wear loose cotton clothing and use umbrellas, caps or cloth coverings to shield themselves from the heat. The ongoing heat wave comes even as the southwest monsoon gradually advances across parts of southern India and the northeast, where heavy rainfall and thundersquall warnings have also been issued. Let's get to updates on the Ebola outbreak. Residents entering the eastern Congolese city from Goma from government-controlled areas were subject to tighter health checks on Wednesday as authorities sought to contain the spread of Ebola after one confirmed case was detected in the city. At the Kanyaruchina checkpoint near Goma, drivers and passengers were required to leave vehicles, wash their hands, wear face masks and undergo temperature screening before joining their journey. Similar hygiene controls were enforced at Goma City Hall. Authorities said the measures were aimed at preventing wider transmission in the city. The World Health Organization on Wednesday said that there were 600 suspected Ebola cases and 139 suspected deaths linked to the outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. The WHO has also declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern, warning that the virus circulated undetected for weeks before being identified. The United Kingdom has pledged up to £20 million in aid to help contain an outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, supporting WHO and other UN agencies to strengthen surveillance and improve infection control. The UK Health Security Agency is also reviewing travel routes and monitoring travellers to and from affected countries to reduce health risks. The government back home has asserted that there are no reported cases of Ebola in the country and that the current risk remains minimal in India. At a high-level review meeting, Union Home Secretary assured the country that surveillance and preparedness measures have been intensified under the World Health Organization, declared the outbreak in parts of Central Africa a public health emergency of international concern. During the meeting, states and union territories were advised to ensure readiness at all levels. Detailed standard operating procedures covering pre-arrival and post-arrival screening, quarantine protocols, case management, referral mechanisms and laboratory testing have already been shared with all states and union territories. The Government of India remains fully vigilant and prepared to respond swiftly to any emerging situation. Citizens are advised that there is no cause for panic while continuing to follow official advisories and updates issued by health authorities. And now we get you updates from the world of 2026 Cannes Film Festival. How can India get more films competing for awards at international film festivals and the Oscars? Munban Bhattacharya asked Indian filmmaker Pan Nalin at Cannes. Take a look.
Here in Cannes, Pan Nalin, he is an Indian filmmaker whose film Cello Show, the last film show, had made a bid for the Oscars a couple of years back. He's right here with us. Well, Mr. Nalin, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me again.
We're looking at a decent Indian representation this year in Cannes. What would you like to say on it?
I would like to say that yes, we have a great presentation of industry. We even first time seeing a lot of Gujarati talent here, which we never saw before. And market, I believe, is fantastic, record-breaking attendance. There is like 140 country present. So I think it's a great opportunity for Indian content, Indian stories to take it global.
We see you at the Cannes Film Festival very often. So tell us about the complementarities and the exchange of experiences and talent that happens through a forum like the Cannes Film Festival or through other film festivals like Toronto, Busan, Venice, to name a few.
I think once the festival is one thing, where you show your movies, like we had movies last year, a lot of Indian films were there. But parallelly, festival like Toronto, Cannes, Busan has amazing conferences and market. So there's a one level creative exchanges happen. But the market is where I come here for, because I'm making film for Indian stories to take it to global audience. And when you have to take Indian stories to global audience, you have to talk to distributors from around the world. You have to talk to the sales companies from around the world. And this is where you can expose them to your work while it is being developed, while you are writing script, make them familiar that, hey, I'm making this movie. Does it appeal to your market in Japan? Does it appeal to Mexico, Brazil? So this early stage is very important, and it gives confidence to my investors that, oh, this looks like a lot of people are interested in this story, so we should invest. So that's one great opportunity.
And there are 3 Japanese films that are competing for the Palme d'Or, the top prize here given to the best film at the Cannes Film Festival. Do you see more collaboration opportunities between India and Japan and such countries going forward through such platforms?
Of course, I see the opportunity. Now that you asked this question, it just reminded me the 3 movies, Japanese movie, which are competing. One of them called Nagi Notes, and the producer is Atsuko Ono from Japan. And me and Atsuko, we were co-producer on a film called Valley of Flowers, which has Nasuddin Shah, and Milind Soman, which was filmed in Ladakh and final climax was in Japan. This is way back in 2007. So that was one of the first India-Japan co-production along with Germany, Valley of Flowers we did, and I'm really happy that her film is in competition. And we have new projects coming out, which we'll announce very soon while we are in the Cannes market.
Thank you, Pan, for speaking to us on a range of issues related to film festivals, including, of course, the Cannes Film Festival. So that was a conversation with Indian filmmaker Pan Nalin on Cannes Film Festival, film festivals, and, of course, the potential that India has when it comes to winning more laurels going forward in various film festivals. With cameraman Ajit Kumar, this is Munman Bhattacharya from Cannes for DD India.
Let's get to updates from the world of business now. U.S. Treasury yields and oil prices fell on Wednesday as hopes increased that the U.S. is nearing a deal with Iran to end the war in West Asia, while major stock indices rose with chipmaker shares ahead of Nvidia's quarterly results. The U.S. dollar fell from a 6-week high, while U.S. crude fell $5.89 to settle at $98.26 a barrel. Brent crude dropped $6.26. Nvidia shares were down slightly after the closing bell, with the company forecasting second quarter revenue above Wall Street expectations and announcing an $80 billion share repurchase program. Its stock ended the regular session up 1.3%. In currency markets, the dollar index, which measures the greenback against a basket of currencies, including the yen and the euro, fell 0.22% to 99.09. After business, we turn focus to sports now. Aston Villa ended their 30-year trophy drought in style as spectacular goals from Yuri Tielemans and Emiliano Buendia inspired a 3-0 win against Freiburg in the Europa League final on Wednesday. Unai Emery's side took the lead late in the first half in Istanbul through Tielemans' thunderous volley. Buendia increased Villa's advantage with a sublime curler seconds before the interval. Morgan Rogers' second-half goal finished off the outclassed Germans, sealing Villa's first silverware since the 1996 League Cup and their first major European prize for 44 years. Villa's long-awaited continental conquest was the latest Europa League masterclass for Emery, who has now won the tournament 5 times after victories with Sevilla in 2014, 2015 and 2016 and Villarreal in 2021. In IPL, Kolkata Knight Riders kept their IPL playoff hopes alive with a tense 4-wicket victory over Mumbai Indians at Eden Gardens. Facing a must-win situation, Kolkata produced a disciplined bowling display under the leadership of Sunil Narine to restrict Mumbai to 147 on a challenging surface after skipper Ajinkya Rahane elected to bowl first. Chasing 148, Kolkata survived a nervy start before veteran batsman Manish Pandey anchored the innings with a composed 45 off 33 balls. He stitched together a vital 64-run stand with Roman Powell, who contributed a brisk 40 off 30 deliveries. The victory lifted Kolkata from 8th to 6th place with 13 points from 13 matches, though their playoff fate still depends on other results. They now await the outcome of Rajasthan Royals versus Mumbai Indians before their final league game against Delhi Capitals. Talking of the action today, then Gujarat Titans and Chennai Super Kings will lock horns today in their final league games of IPL 2026 at Ahmedabad's Narendra Modi Stadium. Despite losing to Kolkata Knight Riders, the Titans have already secured their playoff spot. Meanwhile, the Super Kings lost to Sunrisers Hyderabad and are on the verge of elimination. They require a massive win and other results to help them. Historically, the rivalry between the two sides has been evenly matched at 4 each, though Gujarat have had the upper hand recently, including an 8-wicket win earlier this season at Chepauk. Gujarat Titans strengthened this year and have been their consistent top order, with Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarshan proving strong stats, often supported by the firepower of Jose Butler. A massive drone light show lit up the skies above southern China's tech capital, Shenzhen, turning the night into a glowing symphony of light, motion and futuristic wonder. Take a look. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.